for on the air.
All right, so
Yeah, that unflattering position.
She
Keep it
doesn't
over
like
in
this
front
one.
of you. I don't need people to see my 3 chins already.
I did make it to the Miami Boat Show. Yes, I was there, and there was a lot of repo fans there. Somebody just asked if I went to the boat show, so I was there from Thursday through Sunday.
Cool. We're going to talk about that.
Cool.
Real Repo Radio. Let's get things cooking. I'm Marilyn Russell here with Ken Cage, who you know from Discovery Channel Airplane Repo. What's up, my man?
How are you doing?
Doing great. You
Good.
know, I drank and ate my way through the weekend. I'm a little bit hazy, but feeling good nonetheless.
What are weekends for if it's not to drink and eat your way through
That's
it?
why I had to make the most of my weekends. I'm up at the crack of dawn during the week, hosting the Benefit Morning Show.
It's funny because people don't realize how true that is, and how now I'm realizing because we're trying to do this podcast, and you're like, well, I can't do it after 3 o'clock because I have to be up and out of the house by 4:30 or whatever the hour is, some ridiculous hour. I'm like, oh, I guess so. My father was a truck driver, so as soon as you start telling me those hours, I'm like, got it.
Whenever you have weird hours that are against the grain of the rest of the world, you're just out of sync with the planet. I mean, do you know how many television shows I miss because I have to go to sleep by night?
I know one that you've missed. Airplane Repo? Really? Good.
One day I will have a binge watching weekend of Airplane Repo. But before we get into Airplane Repo, I want to start here because Ken and I just witnessed like an amazing, incredible rock show. And I didn't see it coming. Like, this man blew my socks off with hit after hit after hit from the 80s.
It's so funny. So I'll jump in here. I'm trying to get a better angle here on the podcast while we're doing, because we periscope while we podcast. So we went. My wife and I went. You were nice enough to invite us, and we went to the event.
At the brand new Fillmore in
which
Philadelphia.
is spectacular.
Off the chain, coolest venue in
Oh my
Philly.
gosh. I have a favorite band that's, not on Bryan Adams' scale, but they played at World Cafe Live, and I'm like, this would be awesome
And
for
that's
them.
who it was. The artist is Bryan Adams. And I was blown away.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, we didn't.
I snuck that in too quick.
That's okay.
I jumped it. But my wife and I are going, we're like, yeah, summer of 69. And she's like, oh, In Heaven was my senior prom song. I'm like, so we're thinking like he has 2 or 3 hits. We forgot
About
the other 15 hits.
I'm gonna run to you. That was the one that got me. That's like my favorite Bryan Adams song. I'm
Okay.
gonna run to you. And then what were the other ones? Like
I think just goes the one from Robin Hood.
right. You forget about that
Right.
one.
So you're hearing it's like, oh my gosh, what movie was that?
Right.
So I'm looking up the movie because every song you hear, you're like, oh my gosh, it's huge. He was a monster hit maker in the 80s.
People were singing along. Like he would stop and people would fill in the blanks. At all ages too, by the way. Like
Yes.
the 19-year-olds to the 69-year-olds. Like summer 69.
Good use there. Nice. That was good.
It spanned the gamut, and you're walking around and you're going like, this dude was a hit machine. And might I add that Bryan Adams has held up. It's almost like he's been carbon frozen. He looks phenomenal. He's
did.
in the best shape.
He looked awesome. The suit was great. And I will tell you,
Classy act.
his voice, we knew him as a raspy voiced singer. He sounds better now than he did when he was, 25, 28 years old.
Truth be told.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So this brings up an argument my wife and I have had for years. Heaven is the song. So he starts off, he plays the song, he lets the crowd sing.
Hard to believe we're in heaven.
That was
I
it.
just had to do something.
You have to. He lets the crowd sing the first verse.
Right. Baby,
My
you're all
wife
that I want.
loses her mind when artists do that. She's like, and it's funny because her line is always, I paid to hear you sing. So I see the smoke coming out of her ears for that. I'm like, you did not pay for this. You didn't pay. You can't complain that you paid to see the artist.
You were the Benefit special guest, yes.
So I'm like, you can't even complain about that. She's like, if the crowd's going to sing, he better start over singing himself at the beginning. I'm like, he's not going to do that.
He didn't do enough of that. By the way, I'm on the same exact page as your wife. I did not come to hear you sing at this show.
I am awesome.
I came to hear the art, in spite of the fact that you think you can.
Oh, I can't at all.
I want to hear the artist, so I agree wholeheartedly. But he did it. He straddled the line of I'm going to let these folks feel involved and special and to be part of the show. And then he immediately came in
Right.
with the vocals, which that was okay. I don't know if it's because he's so damn cute. I let him get away with
You
it.
let him get away.
He just looks phenomenal. And by the way, he is the poster child for a vegan, healthy lifestyle.
You said that, and you're absolutely right. He looked amazing, and he sounded better than he looked. I thought.
All
as
the
a
way
guy.
around. Good show. If you're coming to Philly, if you're in Philly, you got to check out the Philly Fillmore because this venue is really fun.
It's old school. It's brand new, but it looks old school. It's got that warm
It already
feeling.
has so much character,
It
and
does.
it's been open for 6 months.
It's crazy.
It's got an upstairs foundry where they do like smaller acts and acoustic acts. There are, by the way, 5 bars in the venue, which is, always
That's good.
a good thing. It's just, and the acoustics were great, and the sound, everything about it. So I can't say enough good things, but I digress. Because my concert going years go back to my first concert, I was 4. Because my parents are musicians.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've been seeing and hearing live music since the age of 4. And of course, I grew up in the Philadelphia Spectrum. Where
Great
all
venue.
the great rock and roll
Great
artists
place.
perform.
So if you're not from Philly, the Spectrum was our one indoor stadium, and it was known for having amazing acoustics.
Right.
So a lot
For
of the
being
artists.
a giant venue, it still sounded really good.
So that's why a lot of the artists loved coming to the Spectrum, and I mean Bruce would be there for 6 months straight or something ridiculous.
Yes would do like a residency. They would
Right.
stay like for 4 nights, and you would go to every show.
Right, they'd rent a beach house for the summer and just keep playing at the Spectrum. And there was a lot of bands like that. I mean, Billy Joel was there for days on end. There was, when groups came to Philly, you're right, it was for 3 or 4 or 5 straight nights.
Yeah.
And every night sold out, 20,000 seats every night. Great venue. So, great place to see music. I'm glad you got to see it there. So who's your first then?
But I've seen it everywhere, and thank God for that. I'm always very grateful. And the point is, the Fillmore really gets that whole feel, that vibe of, it's for the next generation of concert goers, and I can't wait for 20 years for them to be listing their favorites. But from back in the day, for me, I have so many. My first concert
Yeah, I want to know the first.
my dad was a jazz and classical guy, so the first live musician I saw was Buddy Miles on drums.
Holy
No,
snap.
was that his name?
Buddy Rich?
Buddy Rich, not Buddy Miles. Buddy Miles was a guitar player.
I think,
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Buddy Rich, drummer. My dad took me to see him.
So you start out with the greatest of all time.
Wayne Shorter on sax. I saw like the Mills Brothers. I mean,
Really?
My dad took me to amazing.
What a cool
shows.
dad.
Yeah, my parents are super, super cool.
That's great.
Yeah. But when I lived at the Spectrum in high school years, Todd Rundgren,
Oh, he was
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
David Bowie, the Tower Theater too. I mean,
The Tower Theater, another Philadelphia theater. So if you're not from Philadelphia, that's a smaller venue, 3,000 seats, give or
Right.
take, right? Just another one with amazing character. And that's where I first saw you too.
which that's like the best venue to see you too. I mean, the first venue they ever played in isn't around anymore. It's called Grendel's Lair, and really only a handful of people were there because they
Right.
were huge in Ireland. But if you were into college radio, maybe you knew who U2 was back in 1982 or 83. It couldn't have been
Why are you bringing up my age? I was in college in 83
right. Well, there you
and
go.
84, and that's when, Sunday and New Year's Day was out. So it was that tour that I got to see them, and it was
Wow,
spectacular.
and see, you can come in, Rodney. Oh, that's my engineer. I'll do what he wants.
He wants to tell us his first concert.
What?
He wants to tell us his first concert
I know,
too.
we should grab Rodney and find out for sure. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
So Todd Rundgren you've seen, David Bowie. So
Well, wait,
who
you saw U2 at the Tower Theater.
I did.
That's massive.
It was, and that's
Was that
where
your first show?
no,
What was your first show?
it's. I'm proud of this because not many people know this band. The first big show I saw was at the Spectrum, and it was Asia.
Oh, the supergroup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were awesome.
Oh, no doubt. That's why they were the supergroup.
So a little.
But I saw Zeppelin at the Spectrum, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Did
1975?
did little baby Chase Utley walk out when they played Kashmir?
I don't even think Chase Utley was
No, he wasn't.
born
Not in
yet.
75. No. We miss him in Philly.
We really do.
But
and I like the way it always goes back to sports with you. We're talking about music here.
well, it's funny because when I'm on Facebook, especially like pitchers and catchers started last week for the Phillies, and I have a bunch of friends that'll just post Cashmere or they'll text me Cashmere. A friend of mine texted me Cashmere because that was Chase Utley's walk-up song. So whenever he came to the plate, it was da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. So that just everybody
The whole stadium gets fired up.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's the one walk-up song that everybody
All
knows.
right, let me ask you this, Ken Cage, while
Sure.
we're talking about walk-up songs. Are you going to repo a plane, a car, a boat? What's your walk-up song?
I have never thought about that. I always thought, I think pretty much everybody knows I'm a huge Rush fan. And the song Big Money kind of relates to what I'm doing.
So that could be a good walk-up
So I'm like,
song.
well, that definitely, because it's, big money goes around the world, come and go, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, ain't that true?
I have a travel song whenever I get on
now,
a
what's your
plane.
song?
I want to hear, and this is going to, I was not old enough to see this band in the original day. So, but I got into this whole, when you look back on music, late 60s, for me, it's like from 64 to 72 is like the best time in music, I think.
It was
And
great.
I was never able to see the Byrds because I was too young.
Wow.
But 8 Miles High, that's my fly up song.
Sing it out.
Roger McGuinn, I did get to see finally.
Okay.
This was years later, and I got to go to the Sony Studios in New York City, and Roger McGuinn fronted the band called Wilco at the Sony Studios, and it was like a religious experience for me. And Roger McGuinn sang that song, and the rest is, then my head exploded, and I can't even believe I'm still here after that experience.
That's awesome.
But that's when I get on a plane, I think everybody has that song. And in fact, if you do, we'd love to hear from you. It's Marilyn at 957benfm.com, Marilyn at 957benfm.com, because we could keep this convo going for like ever, because music is everything.
Music, it's funny because I do, and it's fun. I talk to my kids in music all the time. I always use
You're
music
like, way
lyrics.
before Katy Perry.
Yeah, well, and I'll, they'll say something, I'll turn it into a music lyric, and I go, oh, I don't know what song that is, but Dad's talking songs again. But it is like, if you hear the right song, you can put yourself back in time into a certain place, and the smells come back, and everything just comes back because music's so personal,
Right.
and it's such a fabric, and
especially in
soulful.
in the formative years, like the band you saw
Mm-hmm.
at 13, that is never going away. That magic, for me, it's Led Zeppelin. Like I'm never going to forget that, and no band's ever going to be Led Zeppelin for me.
No.
But some of the new bands that I absolutely love, like Cage the Elephant, and I fell in love with the White Stripes, and I'm still a huge Jack White fan. They move me, Hosier, in ways that are really special. I just love that tangible energy of a live show. There's nothing that compares to that.
And one of my new bands, it hasn't broken huge yet, but they should, is a group called Truth and Salvage Company.
Oh, I don't know them.
They've been out here several times. They have a little bit of an REM feel to them.
Oh, well, REM was my John in the 80s.
So guess what? I'm gonna bring it back to sports. I am. So I was doing repos in San Francisco. I finished early, and my flight wasn't until the following night. So they had a day game. So I go to see San Francisco Giants, at their stadium. Opening act, to sing the national anthem is this company, bunch of long-haired, bearded, funky hat-wearing guys. I'm like, oh, they were pretty good. Go back to the hotel to pack up. They're in the same hotel. I end up sitting there drinking and pushing my flight back another day because Tim Jones, the lead singer, and I are just sitting there talking all night. Started listening to their music, and they're just amazing.
And where are they from?
They're, depending on the day, they're from Nashville, San Francisco, L.A. They've got kind of a country REM combo feel, but they're real. They one song they wrote with Katy Perry.
Who is a great songwriter, by the way.
Yeah, Old Piano is that song. So they're a great band. They're great. If you listen to them, they're really, really good. So there's a lot of those songs that they write. Heart Like a Wheel is a song that I'm like, that's just awesome.
Oh, cool.
It's just such a really, really cool song. So that's it.